Test 1 2, testing 1 2. Here we go. You guys should be able to hear me now. Just give it a few seconds here, make sure this connection is going to work. I'm back in my hotel room right now for a little bit for my next sessions. Let me know if you can hear me. You should be able to see me, no problem, because I can see the preview. It's showing up, so let's hope that's working. Let me know if you can hear everything. I'll just wait for the reply. Should be about 20-second delay here. Internet in the hotel is not bad, but it's not the greatest, so the video quality is what it is. I'm using my laptop right now. I was using my phone today, so at the see and hear you fine. Okay, cool. All right, I'll give it a few minutes here, see if anybody else pops in before we get into some details about the craziness of YouTube and social media in general. It's a nice day out there though today, that's for sure. Let's see who's in the chat. Bam Ozzy, how's things going? Alex Radford, how you doing? Guitar Hack, Scott Connor, a few people jumping in. Good. I'll give it a few minutes here. Make sure everybody's in here. How was the gig, Guitar Hack? You had a good gig last night? Hopefully everything went well. Yeah, so it's been a crazy day, to say the least. Busy, but interesting. Bobby Clipper, David Ennis. There we go. Guitar Hat got another copyright claim for my live stream from last night's gig. Yeah, I'll update you a little bit on what I heard today and some of the answers I got, and so I'll give you the bad news and I'll give you the good news. There is some good news out of it, but there's definitely an adjustment in line here coming soon. So we'll get into those details in a few minutes here and see if a few people jump in. I was gonna jump in with you guys on Ben's chat thing tonight, or his live stream tonight, roundtable. I just didn't know what time. I think it starts at 8, but I'm not sure. If it starts at 8 Eastern, depends on what time frozen. Give it a second, refresh or something. It should be fine. There it is. See the frozen. Give it a second. It should be all right. It says it's good. Is it still frozen? I'm back. Okay. Guitar did. What's going on? Yeah, like I said, the internet in the hotel is not the best. So I'll see if I can get through this little session here. If not, I can always try it with my phone. My phone seems to work well here. So, but I was low on battery, so I figured I'd just fire up the laptop. Let's see. Let's see if this thing goes. Let me just see. I got my iPad here. Let me know on your end if everything is going, because I can't see the preview. Janice, what's going on? How's it going? Got a few people jumping in. Just give it a few seconds here and see. Let me know if in the chat if this stream is okay, because it seems to be freezing up or something. It says it's okay, but Guitar Hack is a chatty catty today. Good now, it's working fine for me. Okay. Janice is not making any headway on video backlog. Looks fine now. Hear you and see you. Good. Hey, Mitch Amon, Jason Wade. Jason, I didn't get my 50 subscribers today, so I guess I'm not going to be doing the wave in the middle of the crowd tonight. So, Bobby Clipper, what's going on? Let's see. Hopefully it's working, but it's so hard because I can't see the preview. Scott DeFouque. I'm losing my buzz. Get to it. Hold on. It's coming. It's coming. Okay, so hopefully this is working. Yes, I'm back from the store. Is that what you said? Guitar Fish, how's it going? I don't know if I should refresh this page. I don't want to lose the stream, but I'll leave it for now. Let me know if for some reason it's if it's not working or whatever. It's just so that I'm not going through this spiel and you guys aren't hearing anything. Okay, one last check, let me know, and then we'll get started. Say yes, you can hear and see everything, because on my end I can't see the preview now for some reason. Getting a few people in. What's up, Jason? Just give me a thumbs up. You can still hear. It's not frozen, and I'll get started. Yes. Does that mean yes? Okay. It's working. Okay. See and hear you. All right. Well, I'm just going to take your word for it that everything is working on your end, because on my end it's kind of doesn't know what it's doing. So, but if you lose me or something, just let me know in the chat, and then what I'll do is I'll restart the stream with using my phone. Cool. All right. So what happened today was YouTube and some other social media companies are all here at this event, obviously, and there's a lot of talk within the community that's here. A lot of live streamers, a lot of content creators are here, and so there's a lot of buzz around what's going on with copyrights and copyright claims and strikes and all this nonsense that's been going on for the last week or so on all our channels. So what they did is they called a session here, and basically you had to show up and you know, say you're like show your you have a YouTube channel and you do live streaming or so forth. So I guess I was at the right place at the right time. I was able to get in on the session, and yeah, there was probably a couple hundred people in there, and they had representatives from YouTube, from Facebook. I believe there was some people there from LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is starting to do a lot of live streaming. It's only open for some people, but it will open up for a lot of other people. And but it affects everything, even Twitch and the other live streaming platforms. So the discussion was all around what's happening now with the copyright infringements, and that's not just for music. It's for video as well. Basically, the gist of it is that this week, what happened with a lot of channels, and this is what we were told by some of the legal team that was there, it wasn't just YouTube. YouTube is abiding by the law that's coming down from the courts, and the courts are getting direction from filings that are happening from publishing companies such as BMI or you know, all the music companies and even some of the movie companies that are jumping on board now. So what's happened is, even though yes, YouTube has bots and they go out and they find you know, they can see if a song is being played, or they can flag it and then basically hit you with a claim or a strike. What happened last week was the actual publishing companies had teams looking at all content that they could, and just, you know, like Glenn Fricker and Jared Dines, and they're looking at big channels to start with and manually going back in their catalogs and finding infringements. And there's not really anything that they can do about that part of it. Like, it is an infringement by copyright, and they showed us the copyright law. Everything was, you know, in black and white on the screen, showing us exactly what is fair use and what isn't. And you know, they made their case, obviously. What they couldn't do, though, was explain some of the things that were happening, where they did admit that they have serious issues with bots in their system right now, where there's a lot of work that still needs to be done on that, because when they tweak the bots to identify certain things, there's a certain I guess a threshold that these bots look for, and that as the threshold has been like minimized quite a bit, which is why we're seeing stuff like, you know, you play 2-3 chords, and even though they might just be chords from a certain song, they're not the melody and they shouldn't be flagged, the algorithm is still flagging it, and that's an issue. And so I guess the good part, or the positive part about this talk, is that they have admitted that there is certain issues going on with that system throughout social media, not just YouTube, but with all the bots that these systems are using. And we were told that that will be addressed in the next couple of months. They're working on it to streamline that and to have less of this type of error happening, or less of this threshold where, you know, there's still going to be errors made, but they're trying to eliminate some of that, because they did agree with some of the examples that were brought up that shouldn't have happened, but it did. But as far as the copyright stuff and the things you're allowed to play and not play on your live streams, on your videos or whatever, that is being enforced now, like way more than it was in the past, and it's the publishing companies that are coming after it. YouTube basically needs to abide and look at each case, but they can't look at millions of cases at once. So a YouTuber like, I don't know, Pete Thorne or whoever, somebody that has a large channel, can dispute something that's gone up. Like, let's take Jared Dines, for instance, when he hummed Smoke on the Water, and that was brought up in today's session, where everybody was pretty much up at arms. Things like that are being flagged. Well, what they know that was not meant to happen, but it did, and I guess they're going to address it. I don't know how they do it, but for somebody like that who wants to fight it, they still got to go to court to do it. You can't just send YouTube an email saying, listen, I was wrongly claimed, or the copyright strike was wrongly put on my channel. All they do is send it to the publisher that made the claim against you, and that publisher can come back and say, no, we think we're in the right, and then YouTube will just abide by it until it goes to court. And if you want to take it to court, you can do that, and you might win. You know, you might have a case. The problem is, you still got to pay to go to court. You still got to get an attorney. You still got to go through the process, and going against these publishing companies is probably not going to not to end well on your case, even if you win, because you'll probably be, you know, $20,000 in the hole of legal fees to say, yes, I have the right to use this song, right? So they know that people are probably not going to fight it, because until somebody actually does, who has a lot of money and who's willing to go down that road, some of those policies that we're thinking are not right will not change. They're going to keep going that way. So sorry sorry about that. And so I guess what we came out of that meeting knowing was they have a point, but on the other end, we have to figure out what fair use is. And some of the copyrights can last for many, many years, and you have to basically do a search before you try to publish something that's not yours. And YouTube does have a couple of tools. They showed us a couple of things that they were working on, which is white, I can't remember the name exactly, I have it written down, a white list of some sort, where you'll be able to do a search and see if that content would get flagged or striked and what would be the rights. And they already have a search of that kind of that way right now on their page, where you can go in your admin panel and go to copyright policies and then do a search on a band, let's say, and it'll tell you if it's usable in your videos and what countries that it won't be blocked, and all that stuff will happen. But there are certain bands and publishers that can change that whenever they feel like. So even though YouTube might have a record of it saying, yes, you can use this is fair use, and then they use it, and then for some reason the publishing companies decide to change that, they can still go back to your video a year, 2 years down the road and remove it. So it's pretty much the Wild West out there now when it comes to live streaming. Specifically, live streaming was brought up, where if you're doing a live stream and you're playing guitar on it and you're playing a riff, well, chances are now, in the environment that we're living in today, after all these changes happened last week and the fall and a couple of weeks before, where they're really clamping down on it, you're probably going to get flagged. So I think the only positive that I got out of that meeting was that there was some understanding that their system is broken as far as bots, and they are addressing it. How fast that will be addressed, I don't know, but just know that they're basically sticking by the copyright rules, and they are there. I mean, I couldn't fight that. I couldn't dispute that. It's legal what they're doing, and bands and any content creator owns the right to their stuff, and they're going to go after it, tooth and nail, because they don't have the same financial avenues that they had 20 years ago. So they're basically getting paid for their work, which is all good. Let's see. Absolute says, what I think YouTube should do is disclose the revenue earned by claims via the publishers. I bet the revenue would be shocking. Publishers have an army of people claiming videos. Yeah, well, they do, right? And a lot of these strikes that happened last week, where we saw quite a bit, were all done via these publishing companies getting together and going after it. And that's not going to end anytime soon. But what they're able to go after might, we'll have to wait and see. The other thing that came up in the discussion was, we were talking, like in our community, we talk a lot about audio, and but something else that's copywritten and that companies can go after and can say something about is imagery. And they're working right now on bots that will not only go on your channel and flag if there is any audio copyright infringement going on, but also if there's any logos and things. So I'm wearing a Marshall shirt right now, right, in this live stream. There will come a time, I don't know how soon this will happen, that the bots will basically scan the imagery that's going on the screen and be able to tell if you're using a copyrighted logo in your stream, whether you're wearing the shirt or you have a logo in the background or something like that. And depending on what the companies decide as a whole, what they're going to do as far as let you do that or not, it's going to create another whole batch of problems. So I'm afraid we're just getting started with this. And from the legal team that was there today, they're pretty much standing behind what they're doing, other than knowing that some of it has to be modified as far as the bots go. But as far as the publisher saying these are our works and these are what we allow as fair use, that's not going to change. And the fair use thing, some people will use it and you know, get away with it. And if they don't, you can fight it in court, which I don't think any one of us would probably want to do, because we'd be bankrupt. So that's where we're at with that stuff. There's going to be other sessions happening this week regarding some of the social media platforms to have more discussions on the topic, because they are getting a lot of backlash from the whole community as a whole, not just our community, but anybody that's on YouTube or Twitch or any of these. This is affecting everybody, and they've been getting a lot of people you know, talking about it. So which is why they've chosen to put this session together today, and they're having a couple other things happening this week. So I'm going to try to attend a few of the other ones. Some of them are hard to get into because, as you know, it's a crazy hot topic right now, and getting access to this stuff is not always easy. So Johnny Bean, what's going on? EVH, how are you? Johnny says copyright claims are nothing new and happen all the time with commercial music. That's why I tell people they can't play music on my live. Yeah, and that's what's probably going to happen. They made a good point that if you're a creator, it will spur a whole new wave of creativity from us, basically, because we will have to basically produce our content. So if I want to have a live stream and I want to have you know, a music intro, and I want to play music during my live stream, I want to show, you know, something on my guitar, a sound, or demo something, I'll have to write my own stuff, basically, which is fine. I already do that, but you know, not everybody does that, and some people just want to play a riff or something just to demo a pedal or whatever, and don't want to get in trouble for it. So Jason Wade says should be just claims, not strikes, if you're not mentioned monetized. It really does. And that's the other thing, I don't think it matters anymore if you're monetized or not. If you're using the song in your video and they claim it, they have the right to say yes, you can use it, or no, or we'll share the monetization, or it doesn't matter if you're not monetized. They're looking at their brand and they decide who gets to use it. So basically they can say, oh well, that channel doesn't represent us. Maybe they think, you know, they'd have to do a lot more research on your channel to make sure you're on the up and up, you're not some, you know, spewing some racist stuff or whatever. They want to be associated with who they want to be associated with, and they need to do the research. And if they're not willing to do the research on every channel, which is going to be impossible to do, they're just going to say, you know, no, basically, and then you can fight it. But Bobby Clipper says the U.S. government is aware of problems with copyright systems and knows it needs to be addressed. And they did speak about stuff that's happening on the government level right now with basically things like Walt Disney, where the whole Mickey Mouse thing came up for, basically the copyright was running out and people would be able to use it, and it got extended. And the way that that's happened was that Walt Disney or whatever media company wants to extend their copyright is funneling tons of money lobbying you know, Washington, basically, or if it's Canada, they're going, you know, to our government, and basically, you know, throwing tons of money at it, and then they're getting their extensions, and so you're going to see some of that. That's not going to change. EVH says, I'm not overly concerned about the copyright issue on our shows at all. It's been very well it has been very well copyright-wise of late. Yeah, you know what? And we can't freak out too much about it. I think that it's going to work its way through the system, and some stuff will get figured out, and it'll start to get better and probably more stable. But I think our mindsets will change as we're creating content. I think we're going to become more aware of what we're doing and not just doing it and say, well, whatever happens happens type of thing. We're going to start to create our own songs and own music and own content, and that's what we're going to go with. Mike, I am a little concerned with the whole imagery part, like if I'm wearing this shirt or if there's something else in the room that I'm not aware of that, you know, that has some sort of logo, that if the bots get to that level and it's not stated, you know, somewhere, or it's not controlled in any way, then we'll be going through a whole new round of these types of takedowns and claims. And because when it's video, audio is one thing. What they told us with the audio is if you're doing a 1 hour live show and you play maybe 30 seconds of an AC/DC song, you will have the opportunity, your video will get taken down. You will have the opportunity to go in and through their editor remove that part of the video or remove the audio of that part, and then your video will get put back. But what happens if you're doing a live stream for an hour, like if I'm doing this and I've got a Marshall t-shirt on and then the claim goes against me? The only way that I can get around it, and what they told us today, is that we've got to basically take that video into an editing system, blur out whatever content that they're claiming copyright on or infringement, and then re-upload. So really, like, that's going to become a hell of a thing if that comes to bear. And they're not there yet. The systems aren't ready for that type of thing. It could be a year, it could be 2 years, but it's coming apparently. So just be aware. Fair use needs to be clarified. What is fair use? Yeah, and that's the other thing. Fair use, some people said, well, you know, if it's a parody, yes, that's considered fair use. But there's some glitches in even that system where basically if you did a cover, like I've done cover songs and I've put them up there, and the bots did not, some of them they didn't get because they tracked a certain portion of the video and not the whole thing. And maybe my portion of the video, like that Pink Floyd thing I did, the beginning is basically just kind of wind noise and all kinds of stuff. It's not like the original song, and then it goes into the song as I start playing. So some stuff wasn't picked up. So it's not perfect, and you will get away with some stuff, but it's up to you to decide if that's worth it. And if you're monetizing your channel and making money on these videos, you're definitely, you know, going to want to think about that before you publish your video. So let's see, what is this? What is Federal Bureau of I have no idea what that is. Okay, well, maybe we gotta hide user. All right, I don't know what that is. So anyway, we'll have to wait and see what happens. I fly back on, oh, who asked that? Eric. I fly back on Thursday, Eric. Just watched Cameron Cooper's latest video about starting a band. Oh, okay. Oops, I had several minutes outro. The other thing that was brought up is some people are having issues with, well, they're having live stream events where they're having a viewing party. So basically they're watching a movie together. Well, that's copyright infringement because you're putting a movie on and you're inviting a bunch of people, but you know, they're going to go after that. And gaming stuff as well is being brought up to the, it's being brought up in the whole thing as well, where if you're playing a game online, who owns the copyright to the game and the code of it? Like, it goes down to all kinds of levels. It was crazy what we learned today, and some of the legal stuff. My head was spinning a little bit there. You know, so I guess the only thing I can tell you guys to be safe, if you're you're doing content, be aware of what's playing either in the background and what you're playing as far as music. If you're playing guitar or something like that, be aware of it, and as much as possible, try not to have that type of content in your live streams or in your videos, and you should be okay. But let me see in the chat here if I missed anything. Brad says a workaround if you plan to play a song is register it that you're playing it. That way your video doesn't get flagged. It stays up. The original artist gets a cut. Well, that will still happen. I mean, you still, if you're monetized, you will still have shared, you know, monetization stuff from the publishers who allow it, basically. And sometimes that changes. So, because I've had some content of mine that says, you know, you're sharing revenue, and that's fine, because there's not really any revenue to share, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, Guitar Hack, and that's the other thing with the live streaming of gigs, right? Moving forward, we used to be able to get away with some of that, but it's going to be a lot harder now, I think, now that they've tweaked their systems to really go after, even if you're a cover band playing in a club or something, yeah, they're probably going to flag it, and you're probably going to get a takedown or some sort of claim, which kind of sucks, because I don't know, it'd be nice to, even if you go to a concert, a lot of people still go to concerts with their phones and stuff, and they'll stream part of the, I did it when I went to see Joe Bonamassa. You know, I streamed part of the of one song or whatever, because I just wanted to show people that here I'm Joe Bonamassa, and listen how cool it sounds, and how, you know, what the stage looks like or whatever. But I think moving forward, people doing that will probably get flagged. So you can take your chances, I suppose. You know, the system isn't perfect, but just be aware. And trust me, with all the legal stuff that we saw today, it's not something you want to go to court and fight, unless you're a multi-millionaire and you don't mind spending that money. Should be very interesting when artists repost live YouTube videos that other people have taken on their shows. Yeah, and even the TV world is changing now, because there are shows out there that, you know how they show you know, greatest blunders or people doing crazy stuff on YouTube, and the TV show will be all about that, and they'll rebroadcast that stuff. Some of that stuff apparently in the past, now they have to get all kinds of legal things to even show that content, but in the past they weren't doing that, and they were getting away with it. And moving forward, I don't think that's going to happen as much anymore. So it's not just affecting YouTube and the internet, it's even affecting regular broadcast and other forms of media, I guess. Look at Leo. Well, yeah, Leo from Frog Leap. I think what happens with him, I think I heard this from another stream, he actually records the song as his own, and like his own version of it, and then he pushes it to iTunes in audio, and I guess he puts it on some DistroKid or something, and then it becomes his, it's his copyright, I guess. I don't know how he gets around. He must have shared monetization or something, but the way he does it, he doesn't just do the video and post it on YouTube. He does the audio version and puts it on iTunes and registers, like he makes an album type of thing. It's an album of covers, and I don't know how he shares revenue with the actual artist that wrote the song. That I don't know, but I think that's how he does it, and he's been able to do it that way. Vincent, what's going on? Dave R's Guitar. Dave R's Guitar says if you're not monetizing, you should be okay. You should be, but you're not always, and I don't think you will be moving forward. They're just not allowing any use of copyrighted content if you don't have a license for it. I guess no more carpool karaoke. Yeah. it really is the Wild West out there with all this stuff. So we'll have to wait and see where things go. And they're probably going to have governmental regulations come into play, and there might be some rules changing. But right now, the publishing companies are taking full advantage of the system that they have to work with, and they're just applying whatever they can as far as hits, strikes, any type of money that's coming their way. They want it. So Brian, he does shared monetization. He stated in one of his videos who he's registered with. It only takes 24 hours. Okay, so that's, yeah, Froglead probably does some sort of shared monetization, but the way he publishes is different. He publishes through something, and then basically it's like his own album. It's his music, so he must share monetization of some sort. But it was an interesting session, and having all those legal people there, it shows that it's a hot topic, especially here in this environment, which is the National Broadcasting Association, conference, which is insanely big, and it's where all the players are at. That they put this session on right away. Not even, well, they probably planned it late last week. It wasn't on the schedule before then, so they know it's a topic that's going to generate a lot of interest, and it's going to change the way we are doing things. Might be for the better. We'll have to wait and see. Dave R's Guitar says, for not monetized, as long as it isn't performed in full, it should fall under fair use, at least my understanding. Yeah, but it isn't. That's the problem. You can play. I asked a question. I said, if I run a live stream and I have people in my chat and I'm holding a guitar, and somebody asked me, how does Led Zeppelin play, that verse or something? Am I not fair use because I'm teaching, right? Because you can teach material, but no, because you're recording. I'm recording the stream is being recorded. You cannot record and it'll be rebroadcast. Obviously, it would live on YouTube. So then you're rebroadcasting. You can't do that. If it was a one-on-one lesson where I would say, okay, Jason Wade, let's say, is going to Skype with me, and I'm going to give him a guitar lesson. That's fine. That's educational. We're not recording. It's a one-on-one. It's done after the event. You're fine. But if I'm in a live stream and I'm actually showing you how to play a song, that's being recorded and kept and archived, no go. So even if you're in a conference, let's say, and you're a presenter and you want to use a song for your opening when you get on stage, if that presentation is only being shown at the conference, so you come up to Welcome to the Jungle is playing in the background as you're coming up on stage to speak to a bunch of people, it's fine. But if that session is being recorded and will be, I guess, put somewhere for the rest of the organization to show to people that weren't there, no go. You got to take the song out. Let's see. Jason Wade said, "I'll be just fine as long as EVH Gear TV Network doesn't block me from playing in the sun." Yeah. So. Get your waivers signed by whoever you're playing music from. So if you're playing songs from Eric or myself or whoever is writing original music, for my stuff, for SMEER songs, they are registered, and the funny thing is, if I play one of my own songs, I get a copyright claim saying you're sharing monetization. So I'm sharing monetization with myself. So, and that's because I registered it when we recorded it back in 2003, 2004, 2005. Those albums were all done and were registered with CD Baby to go out digitally, to go out to streaming services and stuff. So they basically make the claim for you. So if you did buy SMEER songs, obviously, and then played one on your live stream, you'd probably get the claim. But I don't block it. I don't say, I don't tell CD Baby, anybody playing my song, take their video down. I just say, you know, make it a standard license, which is shared monetization. Let me just go in the chat here. I'm just looking, make sure I'm tracking everything okay. Bam Ozzy says the backlash could be that these corporations lose more because there's no interest in Reminder. Well, it will be, it could be adjusted. We don't know, like, what happens in the next 2 years if the whole system changes and then all of a sudden they see a real negative aspect to what they're doing. I'm sure they would start to pivot and change things, but right now they're not showing any indication of movement in that area. They're sticking by what the law says, and they're going full out on that. There wasn't a, like, the session was just over 2 hours, so there was a lot of questions, but there wasn't a whole lot of time to dive in deep into some of the stuff we wanted to go into. So I'm hoping that the other sessions that are planned for this week, that I can get into those, that will go into more detail of certain things, like really down deep into fair use and parody and news. Yeah, that's the other thing. News is a whole other ball game, which I don't have a lot of information on, so I can't really speak to that part of it. Scott Connors says, I already see this is going to drive legislation to change the laws, and the corporations are going to fight any potential changes tooth and nail. They will. They will. And the problem is they all lobby the government, right? So they've got the money and the lawyers back there to lobby government and kind of stop them from changing something that wouldn't be in their favor, I guess. So Janice says the song that I had a claim on was a partial song, was interrupted by a phone call. Yeah, I don't think it matters anymore if it's just a partial song. It can be just as long as the melody is they can make out the melody. It doesn't matter if it's a verse or whatever. They're still going to flag it. Jamal says, what if you use a service like DistroKid? If it's your own music and you're publishing through DistroKid, you're fine. So yeah, by all means, that's what I intend to do with my original music moving forward, is, you know, record it and then register it and publish it through DistroKid, and then basically it's under my name and I can use it for whatever I want and never have an issue with that. So definitely that's the way to go if you can, but you know, you got to write your own music at that point. Dave R's Guitar says, you've left one important part. If your channel is not monetized or not, because that should be... No, they specifically said it doesn't matter if you're making money on the song or not. They have their policy in place that if they flag it, they will have a look. If you're making any money on it, forget it. You're going to either share monetization or it's going to get taken down. If you're not making money on it and you're using it, they can still take it down. They told us that point blank today, because at the end of the day, it's the artist and publisher to decide where that song lives. So if you're a content creator that is very controversial or not within their guidelines of who they think should represent them as far as the artist and stuff, they have total right to take that down. It doesn't matter if you're monetized or not. So that was made perfectly clear today, because that came up quite a bit. EVH says, a perfect example, when I worked in radio and streamed our station to listeners, our advertisers were blocked due to geographic regions. Yes. So a car dealer in one city could not compete with another. Yep. Or monetized or not monetized. Oops. I understand that being monetized makes no difference. If they don't want to be associated with your channel, they can still block. Exactly. So they're not looking at this solely for the monetization part. It's a big part. Obviously, they want any part of money that's made off their work, but it's bigger than that. They want control of where that song or that piece of content lives, and who is controlling its distribution, basically. Let's see. Gary Holt, how's it going? Didn't see you in here. Yeah, if I missed anybody in the chat, I'm sorry. I'm kind of just going through the content that I've, trying to give you guys the information that I got today. So I might be missing some of you in the chat. So I'm apologizing for that right now. It's actually, what time is it here? It's, yeah. So I've got to go in another 15 minutes. I've got to go to another session. I don't know what time Ben is going on, but he's having his roundtable and mentioned that if I would go on, I don't know if I'll be able to. If he's starting at 8, maybe I can, just because I think he wanted to discuss a few things about this. So I'll see. I got to check my schedule again to see what time I have to be at this next thing. Dave, our guitar absolutely ban Aussie, but if you're not monetized, it makes it a bit more difficult for them to end around fair use, because the key verbiage is fair use nonprofit. Yeah, well, that's not the way it was explained to us today. It's about the creator and the owner of the content decides where and when it can be used, not necessarily. I mean, it's fair use if you fall under the fair use guidelines. If you're doing a story, a news story on, I don't know, Motley Crue, let's say, they put out this new movie, it's news, you're playing part of Live Wire or something, yeah, then you're in fair use category, I suppose. But if you're just a channel like myself and I'm talking and all of a sudden I hit play on my, CD player or whatever and Live Wire starts playing, they're gonna flag it. And my channel's not monetized. So EVH says every single video that I upload goes immediately into the Content ID software. I've seen the publisher's version of the software. All videos end up there. It's up to them which ones they claim. Yeah, they literally have to put a checkbox in which ones they want to claim. These teams come in the office in the morning and see what we've got today. Yeah, but what's happened is they ramped up that, so you're going to see where that would be more like, I guess, they would only do it for a certain range. Now they've expanded that range and doing it a lot more frequently, I believe, which is why we're seeing a lot more activity in the copyright claim and strike area. So Jason Wade says, what's for supper tonight? Going to a nice place in Vegas. Oh, by the way, I really love this peak. I don't know what's for dinner tonight. I don't know. I got this other session to go to, so after that I'll have a look. There's a steak place downstairs that I might check out if it's not packed. Sometimes you got to get a reservation for that one, but I'll see. It's great info, Brian. Thanks for sharing with me. Yeah, no problem, man. I think it's an important topic, and it's timely right now with everything that's going on, and having access to some of these people here. It's just being at the right place at the right time, I suppose, because I had no idea that this was happening. As far as I knew, I was coming to this conference and I knew I was going to be meeting some of the live streaming companies, but as far as this whole copyright debate and everything that's happening within the community, I didn't know that was going to happen. So I'm glad that I was able to get that information. Do it, steak rock. Yeah, I want to get a prime rib or something. That would be nice. So, okay, just going through the chat, make sure I didn't miss anything. I'm glad that stream is working, because it's $1.99 steaks. Where is $1.99 steaks? I don't think they're $1.99 here. Like, price I checked was like crazy, like $50 a plate or something crazy. They better be good, or I'll just pick up something later. It's only well, it's just past 5:30 here. So I'll see. But other than that, the conference is going very good. Tomorrow is the day that it really ramps up. I was able to get into the exhibit hall today. I kind of snuck in. There was a door left open. They're still setting up, and it's a huge setup. All the companies are, you know, Panasonic, Canon, everybody's in there setting up these huge screens and cameras and all kinds of stuff. So I was able to go in. I kind of hid my badge and walked in, and nobody said anything, so I was lucky. But I didn't stay there long because I was scared I was going to get caught, because you're not supposed to be in there unless you have an exhibitor badge, and I don't have an exhibitor badge. I have a participant badge for the training and stuff. So tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock the exhibit hall opens, the show floor, so I'll show you some of that stuff. I took a few pictures of their setup, but it's still setup day. So Dave R says, so in a nutshell, it's a total crapshoot whether or not your video is taken down, monetized or not. If you're monetized, you will be sharing profits or have your video taken down. Yeah, pretty much, but I think it's going to become less of a crapshoot and more of a certainty moving forward, with these companies really, you know, digging in and claiming everything that they can. Scott Connor says Vegas used to be famous for dirt cheap casino dinners. Yeah, there's still a lot of buffet places and stuff. So I could do that. There's one in the hotel here too, but it depends on what they have. And the buffets are still, well, the one downstairs I think is $35 a plate or something like that. Dale Palmer, what's going on? Rocking Dave Byron says, hey guys, it's been happening for a while, and they've also come out to the clubs, and that's a scary one too, right? Guys coming out to clubs to see if a band is playing music and do they have a license for it. And yeah, I've never run into that issue, even when I played in a band for many years in Canada anyway. That was never an issue. Maybe now it's becoming an issue. I don't know. Guitar Hack would probably know more than I would, because he's playing, you know, frequently. So I don't know if that will be changing in Canada. We've never had that issue where we go in a bar and had to worry about playing whatever we want to play as a cover band. Johnny says, every time I tour Vegas, we would get cheap dinners. Oh, I know they can be found. It just depends if I want to venture out or not. So it depends on my time, because like I said, this event tonight, I don't know how long it's going to last and stuff, and I've got quite an early morning, so I don't know how far I'm going to venture out tonight. I wanted to go see Aerosmith last night. It was their first night in Vegas. They started a residency where they're playing, I think it's every second or every third night for the next couple of months anyway. And but I checked the tickets. Oh my god, just a normal, like the cheapest ticket I could find was $395, I believe, $395 US for one ticket. So I was like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna do that. But it's pretty cool that they're playing here. There's another thing there's a band here that plays. They play covers. I don't know how that works, but they're called Rock the Vault, I believe, and it's like past rock stars or whatever, and they've all got together and they made a band, and they put this show on. So I might try to go see. I did see it a few years ago, and it was really good. Doug Aldrich was playing in it, so it was a good time. No problem, Dave Byron. Sorry you can't stay. No problem. I'll probably be cutting this in the next 10 minutes, and I might jump on to Ben's stream. I think he's starting at 8. I'm not sure, and my session will be starting probably. It'll be 8:30, just past 8:30 that time. So I might go on for a little bit with him. I don't know yet. It depends if I have time, and can answer some more questions. Jason Wade says $35 for a buffet. That's a lot of salad on a keto diet. Yeah, really. I'd just be looking for the meat. That's what I can have. Dave, our guitar says that's really gonna hurt a lot of bands and a lot of bars. Yeah, I can imagine. Wow, that's Kiss prices. Yeah, yeah, they're charging pretty big for the Aerosmith stuff. Yeah, I think it'd be a good show though. It's at the MGM Grand. Not they call it MGM Park or something. So it's a bigger. It's not their regular. I've never been to that casino, so I don't know what. But it's called the Park, so it must be a newer building where they built just for these big concerts. So I would like to go, but man, yeah, $395 US. That's like 2 million Canadian. Johnny Bean says, out here in California, the clubs have to pay for covers to be played. Bands play house and warehouse parties and play anything. Really? Wow. Yeah, we never had that issue when we were playing and when I did covers and stuff, and I don't remember a time when the bar was paying any licensing fees or anything to have the music played. But that could be changing, I guess, from what you guys are telling me here. Dave R's Guitar says Aerosmith puts on a hell of a show. I imagine. I'd love to see the show, but I just... that $395 US turns into over 500 for us in Canada, and I can take that 500 and put it aside for my R9. I'd rather do that than go see Aerosmith, right? Aerosmith's a one night thing and you go in and yeah, it's all good and you got to see Aerosmith, but I'd rather put the money towards the R9 that I really want and that have a lifetime with a guitar. How does one get to Ben's stream? You have to just go to his channel. Just go to Ben. I think his channel is Ben Coombs or Canucks with Guitars. So just type in Ben Coombs in the search and you'll find it. Our clubs here in Canada have to pay SOCAN fees now. Oh, okay, that's how they're doing it. Okay. I don't think it was like that before, though. I don't know when this started with SOCAN. SOCAN is basically like ASCAP, I believe, which is a Songwriters Association. I am part of SOCAN, and all my songs are registered through SOCAN. So, you know, every couple of months, I think it's every 4 months, every quarter, they send me a small amount of money. Not enough to do anything with, but I know it's registered and they are keeping track of the accounting, I suppose. Dave R. Star says, I saw them in 03-04 on the Honking on Bobo tour. Saw them with Cheap Trick. I won those tickets on the radio. Wow, that must have been a good show. Cheap Trick would be cool to see too. Jason says $395 equals Aerosmith entire CD catalog and a bottle of yeah, exactly, right? That's so true. Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I'm not gonna pay that. No, can't do it. Ivan Carter, how's it going? Park MGM is next to the New York. I think it used to be the Monte Carlo. Okay, okay. Yeah, so it must be a bigger type of arena place. It's not the new arena. Like they have this new arena called T-Mobile Center, I believe, is where the hockey team plays, and it's not there. I know that because it's a residency. They're playing every second or every third night. I don't know how they're going to do that. I think they're playing through the summer, and if they're doing every second or third night, I don't know how Steven Tyler's voice is going to hold up to that. But I guess we'll see. Scott Connor says, I wonder if Tyler and Perry are even getting along these days. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been following them too much. Eric says, nope. Back in our day, when you and I were playing, but the last few years got bad. DJs too, which prevent torrenting DJs from making money. Oh yeah. That's interesting. That's interesting. Well, I wonder how. Because there's still a lot of tribute bands that I see that play. I wonder how they get around it. You know, because if there's a Leonard Skinner tribute band or a Kiss tribute band or whatever, and they're making some good money and they're playing quite often, I wonder how they get around it. Does the bar or the venue pay a certain fee per year to SOCAN or ASCAP or whatever, and then that money goes to the... That's I don't understand that one, but it must be something. Quentin James, what's going on? saw a lot of lighting companies today when I was walking around the exhibit hall as they were setting up. So Quentin, a lot of options for you coming up. Ivan Carter says the theater is in Park MGM. Okay. Brad says pre-recorded vocal tracks. Yeah, maybe Steven Tyler's getting some tracks played behind him to help him keep his voice going for that long. Because like I say, if he's playing it, it looked like the schedule was every second or third night, so that's a lot of shows if they're doing it all throughout summer. But I guess it's like being on tour, except they stay here. Scott Connor, I wonder if tribute bands and cover bands eventually be forced to buy licenses. Yeah, it could be. I don't know. I don't know. Rick Effner, what's going on? I think they pay a fee to the RIAA. Not sure. All right, Jason, thanks for jumping in. We'll catch you next time. All right, folks, I'm gonna jump off as well and finish my coffee here. I might jump back on Ben's live stream. I'll see what time it is, and I got to check my schedule to see at what time I need to be at this next session. If I have a little bit of time, I'll jump on there and just go over some of the details that we went over here. But if there's different people on that stream, they might want to get some value out of that as well. But anyway, I mean, my take on the whole thing is that there will be an adjustment period, but once it kind of settles down and things get figured out, I think we might be in a better place, and I think it'll definitely foster a lot more creativity, original stuff to come out, which is, you know, can be good. So we'll have to wait and see. I know that's the way I'm approaching it moving forward, is as much as possible doing my own stuff and producing my own content as far as music goes and stuff. And yeah, we'll see. Once in a while, I still want to do some covers. I have to investigate that a little bit more to see, because, you know, there are ways of doing it. Some of the stuff gets through and some doesn't, but I need to check that more. So that's it. Yeah, Quentin, you show up and everybody leaves. Must be you, right? It's all good. All right, so I think Ben's having his thing at 8. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's at 8. So jump over to his channel, and if I can, I will jump into the roundtable and answer a few questions before I go to my next session. And if not, thank you for jumping in. If I find out any more information during the week regarding this issue, I will let you know as soon as I know. And I'll be posting some more content during the week to show you some of the show, like some of the cool stuff as far as video and production go. So I'm sure there'll be some interesting things to see. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks. We will talk to you soon. All right. Have a good one.